Hello and welcome. I'm Tom.
And I'm Amy.
And today we're really getting into something that, well, it affects pretty much everyone. Parents, future parents, anyone curious about how kids grow up.
That's right. We're talking about raising children, some of the maybe surprising challenges in modern parenting and schooling.
And maybe how we could approach things a bit differently, to really help kids flourish.
Hmm.
We've got some fascinating sources, including Dr. Tomasz Wilczewski's work, to help us unpack it all.
Mm-hmm. Our goal today is really to explore why sometimes our best intentions, they might actually get in the way of a child's natural development
We'll look at common frustrations, maybe dig into the psychological stuff behind them.
and hopefully offer some fresh perspectives, maybe some practical ideas for you listening.
Okay, so let's kick things off with something probably familiar. Ever feel like you're doing just everything for your kids?
Oh, yeah.
Our sources point out this thing where, a kid gets a good grade, but it feels like the parent did all the work. Like they deserve the A.
It's funny you say that, and there's this observation from a Polish context, but maybe wider too, that kids want to learn. They genuinely do.
But they hate being taught.
Exactly. That resistance to being forced into it. It's powerful, isn't it?
It really is. That pushback against compulsion.
Well, what's fascinating is how our minds work. We're social beings, right?
Mm.
Always adapting. We've got these deep evolutionary things, like a tiny baby smiling.
Right, not just cute, it's survival.
Yeah, it relieves the mother's stress. It's like their only defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But then there are the flexible things, the learned stuff.
Like kids figuring out how to get what they want from parents.
Precisely, what they eat, when they sleep. And a key point our sources make is that lots of parents, understandably, don't always have this sort of foundational knowledge for really conscious parenting.
Which leads to these power struggles.
It can, yeah. And sometimes it can even, pose a risk to their healthy development if we're not careful.
So where does this come from in us as adults? Why do we jump in so much? Is it that thing of wanting to give our kids what we didn't have?
Oh, definitely.
My childhood was tough, so my kid's going to have it easy. That whole mentality.
That's a huge factor. Our sources call it the generational pendulum swing, one of four big things that can actually block development. We either copy our parents,
Or go completely the other way.
right, trying to overcompensate. And another big one, treating kids like mini adults.
Ah, yeah. Expecting, adult-level focus from a 9-year-old.
Exactly. They have this natural straw enthusiasm, wanting to try everything guitar one week, soccer the next, short bursts.
But we want consistency, follow through.
But their nervous system just isn't there yet. It's not fully developed until they're around 25. So we might be pushing for something they're not biologically ready for.
And missing crucial windows. Like, you wouldn't try to teach a 17-year-old the splits for the first time.
It's much harder. That flexibility you teach a 4 or 6-year-old easily, it gets skipped.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Our expert talks about ages 5 to 9 as this genius period.
A sensitive window.
Crucial for fostering creativity, independence, responsibility, cooperation, gratitude, generosity, all these big things.
And if they aren't nurtured then?
They might be lost or much harder to develop later.
That's the idea. Yet, as adults, especially once we're past 25, we're driven by results. Order.
So a child's natural messiness they're exploring, it looks unproductive to us.
It often does. It makes it hard to empathize, maybe even remember what that felt like, what those childhood needs really were.
Okay, so let's bring this down to something.
Okay.
As adults, we frame it with why, don't we? Brush or you'll get cavities. Cost me money at the dentist.
Future consequences, fear, maybe.
But kids operate on what? The immediate action. How do we bridge that without, nagging or forcing?
Well, the key seems to be activating what's already in the child. They naturally want to do things themselves, dressing, helping bake, cracking eggs, even if it's messy.
So instead of threats,
Flip it. Use a teach me approach. Wow, can you teach me how to brush teeth? Or could you brush my teeth for me?
okay, that elevates them.
Exactly. It taps into their desire for autonomy, their curiosity. They'll likely want to copy what they just did for you. Maybe they brush their nose too, but that's part of the process.
That's a great reframe. But, okay, playing devil's advocate. I'm a parent, maybe not a creative genius every single day. I could do the teach me thing for a week. Then what? Kids need constant new challenges.
Oh, absolutely. They thrive on them. Like your niece learning a handstand, then a cartwheel. What's next?
Always what's next.
Yeah. And when parents struggle to constantly provide that novelty, our sources offer a maybe surprising solution.
Which is?
What should children get? A second child? Or maybe more broadly, just access to other children, shared environments.
Right, like instead of two separate tree houses and 2 yards.
One shared treehouse, and maybe a trampoline. That's where the real learning happens, sharing ideas, creativity, responsibility, cooperation. It's incredibly powerful.
So powerful that the expert even suggests that cheating in school
Where kids learn from each other, yeah.
is actually the best kind of learning, even though it's forbidden.
That's the argument. It highlights how effective peer learning is.
It really feels like our adult focus on results gets in the way constantly. Long-term worries,
Mm-hmm.
bad grades mean no good university, which means
A ruined future. We catastrophize. Even in kids' sports, it becomes about winning, not the whole experience learning about yourself, relationships, handling difficulty.
so how does this tie into brain development? You mentioned 6 dimensions.
Yeah, the research points to developing logic, imagination, decision-making, handling emotions, understanding yourself in tough times, and understanding others. 6 key areas.
And failure plays a big role.
A huge one, often a better motivator than success. Think about video games kids love, like Subway Surfer.
Right, you can't technically win those endless runners.
Exactly. But kids play them over and over. Why? Because they let you try again instantly after failing. An adult might miss one shot in a game and quit. A kid just restarts.
Huh. So sometimes electronics offer a healthier learning cycle than real life does because they embrace failure and repetition.
In some ways, yes, they tap into that natural process of try, fail, try again without the adult judgment or pressure.
Okay, so if that's how kids naturally learn and develop, what does this imply for, well, the traditional school system, which is often about sitting still, memorizing, conformity?
It implies it often falls short. The current system, unfortunately, can trap teachers into just providing the basics. Safety, organization, rules, delivering the set curriculum.
Not really reaching those higher levels, like fostering discovery.
Rarely. It's often sit still, be quiet, learn this for me. But we know peer-to-peer learning can be almost 100% effective.
And the sources mention like specific cultural traits, drawing on the Polish context again, that's high motivation.
Yeah, describing a high cognitive motivation, this innate desire to learn, to ask people who know. It's framed as being like a nation of Nobel laureates full of discoverers.
That's a strong statement.
It is, but it points to a universal human drive, I think. We see it everywhere. And also a vital motivation, caring for kids, the elderly. And an ethical motivation, volunteering, good causes, like the WHOOP example given.
So these powerful drives exist.
But the compulsion in the current school system often just kills that natural cognitive drive to learn.
That's a really stark way to put it. So if we were to, dream up a different kind of school, what might it look like? How could it use these motivations?
Well, maybe a school where kids choose what they're interested in, spend as long as they want in a workshop language, building things, sewing, whatever it is.
Focusing on finding and nurturing individual talents, not just cramming general knowledge.
Exactly, because the idea is evolution didn't come from everyone knowing equally, but from the sum of individual potentials.
And parents are key here. Their main job should be identifying talent.
That's the suggestion. Something the current system, with its focus on grades, doesn't really help with. It tells you what they're maybe not good at, but not their unique strengths.
Which brings up another point. Lots of parents delegate this, right, to therapists, coaches, tutors. But can anyone else really see the whole picture? Especially if, as the expert says, child psychology is often more about working with the parents because the kids themselves are fundamentally okay.
You've nailed it. Kids aren't usually the problem. Issues often come from their environment, how adults interact with them.
So the challenge for parents is to stop seeing the child as just an extension of themselves.
Right. Wanting them to be the best, to make us look good, or avoiding embarrassment, or, avoiding future dentist bills. It often circles back to our needs, not theirs.
It's not about just making them happy all the time either, is it?
No. Happiness isn't about, winning the lottery. It's more about an internal balance, being able to handle both the good and the bad.
So how do we build that self-reliance, that ability to learn from experience?
Well, let's go back to that extra cake story. It's a great illustration.
Okay.
Parent doesn't forbid the extra slice. Instead, discusses the possible outcome. Might get a tummy ache. Your choice.
And the child eats it, gets the tummy ache.
And learns. They connect the action to the consequence. They reflect. Next time, they can forecast the outcome. Action, reflection, prognosis, like solving a Rubik's Cube move. See what happens, plan next move.
Which is totally different from just memorizing for a multiple choice test and forgetting it later.
Exactly. That's pass and forget, not deep causal thinking. And we even interrupt natural physiological reflection.
What hunger?
Yeah, constantly saying, eat now or you'll be hungry later. Instead of letting them feel hunger and connect it to needing food, it breeds dependence.
Wow, okay, but parenting like this, it sounds intense. Like a full-time job on top of the actual full-time job many parents have, it sounds exhausting.
It absolutely can be. And that's where the bigger picture comes in. The village it takes to raise a child. It's often shrunk down to two parents, sometimes just one.
Juggling work, life, and this really conscious, effortful parenting.
It's a huge ask, but the actual tools needed, according to our sources, are surprisingly fundamental. Kids need 4 key things.
Okay, what are they?
Movement, lots of it. They need to experience the full range of emotions, not just happiness, because that stops them learning to handle frustration later.
Right.
They need to learn by doing, not just be taught passively. And they need relationships with other kids. Running, shouting, exploring, being independent, that builds self-trust, helps them process all those emotions.
That point about movement and independence, I
Mhm.
notice sometimes when I walk over to my daughter while she's deep in play, the whole energy just changes. It stiffens up.
And the expert actually cited data on that. An adult's presence can raise a playing child's heart rate by 20 beats per minute. Stress.
So what do we do instead of hovering and saying, don't run or be quiet?
Approach with curiosity again. Wow, that looks fun. Can you teach me how to play?
Yeah.
Shift the power. Make it empowering for them.
Okay. And if they're, say, misbehaving, pushing or something.
Instead of just saying, stop that, which kids often tune out anyway, give them a positive task. Jesu, can you be my helper and make sure no one pushes anyone?
Redirect the energy into responsibility.
Exactly. Leverage that natural desire to contribute. The sources really emphasize that most negative behaviors, they often start with us, the adults, and the environment we create.
It keeps coming back to peer learning, too. That mutual teaching. Remember this guy in high school? Let's call him Alex.
Mm-hmm.
He explained some math concepts to me in maybe 3 weeks that I just hadn't grasped after months with the teacher. It was totally different learning from him.
That's it right there. That's the power. The stats our sources give are pretty stark. Lecture, 5% effective. Reading, 10%. Explaining, 20%. Audiovisual, 30%. Demo, 40%. Group discussion, 50%.
Okay.
But practicing it yourself, 90%. And teaching each other.
100%.
100% effective.
Oh.
And the traditional school setup, especially for younger kids, often blocks those 4 core needs we mentioned.
Yeah.
Movement, emotions, learning by doing, relationships.
Like the example of Japanese schools.
Mhm.
No grades or tests before age 10.
Right? Focusing first on values, respect, order. It's about finding new ways, building systems that actually work with how children naturally thrive, empowering them to be in harmony with themselves.
This has been, wow, really eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me rethink a lot my own habits and just
Mhm.
the bigger structures we have.
Mm-hmm.
It feels the main message is, stop trying to force kids into our adult boxes. Meet them where they are. Give them the right environment, the tools. Let their own potential unfold. Focus on their internal resources, not just external scores.
Exactly. The big goal is moving beyond just coping with old systems that don't quite work and actively starting to build new ones where every kid's unique talents can actually flourish.
Which means parents have a journey too,
Yeah.
right? Understanding ourselves, changing our approaches, embracing the challenges.
Seeking knowledge, building real connections with our kids. It's not easy, but maybe it starts with that internal feeling, that sense that, a new way of doing things is possible. A new world is coming based on better tools for raising kids.
Thank you for your attention. You can subscribe to our podcast if you like it.
See you next time.